Hey, welcome back. I'm Bill. I am not in my garage. I'm about 3.5 hours away from my garage. My wife and I are camping at China Beach Campground on the very southern end of Vancouver Island, and right here I'm looking over China Beach. This is about an hour and a quarter, hour and 20 minutes west of Victoria, or if you're more familiar with the area specifically, it's about halfway between Souk and Port Renfrew on Highway 14. Some of you have asked about my camping gear setup, and I thought, hey, here's a great opportunity to show you what I do when I go camping. But first, let's check out the beach. It really is a nice beach. Today's kind of overcast, and it's a little bit chilly, but it's not cold. But it is nice here. We're looking out over the Strait of Juan de Fuca. Again, this is the southern tip of Vancouver Island. And you probably can't see it. I can just barely make out the mountains out on the other side. That's the Olympic Peninsula in Washington. The Strait of Juan de Fuca runs from the Pacific Ocean between the Olympic Peninsula and Vancouver Island and connects the Pacific with Puget Sound, which runs down to Seattle, and the Strait of Georgia, which separates Vancouver Island from the mainland, and also Howe Sound going into Vancouver. So, yeah, it's nice here. Let's go up to the campground. Well, here's the French Beach Campground. We're nestled into a bunch of Douglas firs, western red cedars, and hemlocks. It's pretty quiet, very pretty. I think there are about 125 sites here, and we drove through a couple years ago, and it wasn't anything to get real excited about. Very pretty, but it was an older campground. All it had were old pit toilets, no other amenities. But the last 2 years, they've expanded it. They've added in something like 30 campsites. They've replaced all the old pit toilets, and they've built new bathrooms and shower houses. So it's pretty nice. This is one of the old original sites. You can see here's our Outdoor Works Algonquin tent. It's basically a 6 foot or 6.5 foot tall dome tent. I like it because I can stand up in it. But it's got a fly that has a screen porch on the front that's closed up right now. But it's really nice if it's raining, or if the bugs are really bad, or if it gets too cold. We can take some chairs in there and a lantern, and it's a nice spot to read or whatever. Nestled in here in the trees. This is a tripod I bought a number of years back. It's actually designed to go over a campfire and hold a grill, but I use it to hold a lantern, and we can put that behind the chairs at night when we're reading. But here's what I know people have asked me about. We've got a pretty minimal setup here. Vancouver Island is black bear country, and black bears don't bug people, but they do go hunting for food, and they can get into trouble. So they like our campsites, at least in this spot, to be kept bare. So I don't have much out, but this is our GPA setup when we go out. I don't take a lot of things, but I do take this 1927 2D stove and oven combo. Used to take a Model 444, a big 3-burner with a modern Coleman oven, but man, they just take up a lot of space. This guy, when the oven's all folded into the lid, it doesn't take up much more space than that modern Coleman oven does in its box. It's smaller than most of the modern camp stoves, and the 2D is just super reliable. There's not much to go wrong. It's easy to regulate, and it's got that oven built in here. And that oven's great if you want to make biscuits, cinnamon rolls, cornbread, pizza. We've made all those things, and it's all just built into one package here. It is a hot blast stove, so your neighbors and other campsites might freak out when they see the flames when you're preheating it, but it's always kind of fun then to tell them about the hobby. So as far as lanterns go, I pretty much always take 2, and for quite a while now, these have been my 2 go-to lanterns. On the left is an Akron 103, early to mid-1920s. On the right is a 132A. The A was for the painted version. The nickel-plated one is an AG, by the way. But these things are just incredibly reliable. The 103 is basically Akron's version of Coleman's 327 Quick Light. I find this thing burns brighter than any of my quick lights do, so I like that. But I also like it because on the exceptionally rare occasions that the generator tip decides to clog up, whereas a quick light, you've got to let it cool down and then completely remove the generator to get the needle in there and clean it. This guy, you don't have to let it cool off all that much. There's a little thumb screw down here. Once that's no longer completely hot, you can just release that with your fingers, and then the whole burner assembly pops out. You can grab it with a towel or some paper towels or something if it's still hot, and you prick the generator that way. Safer on the mantles and just generally less trouble. The 132 is basically their Instaglow version, and this thing just never gives me any trouble. It's like a 220E, but I find it burns brightly, and if I have any issues, it's easier to take apart in the field than a 220 is. The other things I like about both of these mica globes, I don't have to worry about any glass breaking while I'm transporting them or using them. And also both of them sip fuel, especially the 103. I can completely fill these founts before I leave, and chances are, even burning them a couple hours every night, I'm not going to have to refill them until maybe the last day, but sometimes they even last all week until I get home. So that's why they're big pluses for me. So anyhow, there's the setup, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.